Good morning, students. Hope you guys are fine. My name is Mr. Ebenezer Kalola, and I'll be your marker tutor for the academic year 2021 for the English Module 5. So welcome to the study of major school subject, English for the third year. So with this module, our main focus, so with this PowerPoint, I'm going to guide you on how to answer assignments and first prepare you for the examination. The assignment is essential in preparation for the examination, and the format of the examination will follow that of the assignment very closely. Note, this does not mean, however, that the question will be the same. You are expected to study the module together with the prescribed books and to ensure that you know your study material before you attempt the assignment. Please pay special attention to the verb used in the assignment. So the assessment for this module will be one assignment of 150 marks, which must be submitted for this module. You must get a pass mark of 50% is required in this assignment to grant you admission to the examination. The examination question paper will have the same format as the assignment. It will count for 150 marks and have a 3-hour duration. So a final pass mark of 50% is required, which comprise 60% of the written examination plus 40% of the assignment or semester mark. So in this PowerPoint, you're going to look at Unit 1, 2, 3, Unit 1, 2, 4, and 6. Unit 1 is going to discuss foundational issues about grammar and its teaching. Unit 2 is going to explain the part of speech and upper primary teaching activities for it, the nouns. Unit 4, we're going to analyze adverbs and upper primary teaching activities for it. Then Unit 6, we're going to discuss grammar assessment issues. The first we're going to look at is grammar. What is grammar? That is a question. So we say the study of how words and their component parts combine to form sentence. Grammar is the study of how words and their component parts combine to form sentences. The study of structural relationship. Grammar is also the study of structural relationships in language or in a language, sometimes including pronunciation, meaning, and linguistic history. So what is the role of grammar teaching from a communicative approach to the common European framework of reference for language? In the history of language teaching, the role of grammar has been addressed by a number of linguistic theories, methodologies, and currently within the European framework of reference for languages. The way grammar is or has been considered as a direct and decisive influence on pedagogical grammars, learning process, and many other areas involved in foreign language teaching. So grammar is a subsystem in a network of other linguistic subsystems, and other subskills has been assigned different roles in the language classroom, reaching little consensus, not only about the particular items to be taught, but also when or how or even where to teach or learn. The common European framework for language cannot be considered a teaching approach, although it provides a descriptive framework to which teaching authorities, teachers, coursebook designers, and learners must acquaint themselves with. So the role of what is the role of grammar in the post-communicative language teaching? The thought process involved in processing and learning this grammatical knowledge. Grammar learning is considered in terms of performance within a skill-based approach. So how does knowledge, grammar may be acquired by so how do we utilize knowledge? So we say grammar might be acquired by an inductive or deductive route, and that the latter typically connect to much traditional grammar teaching, but also present in many current classrooms. The strong version that should be fulfilled with any linguistic means that are already available for the learners, so that the teacher should not bias the task in order to use a specific linguistic structure. And this type of task is called unfocused task, which improves learners' communicative skills but might leave accuracy behind. It also attempts to deal with grammar teaching in a way in which the learners' communicative skills are not hammered but improved. First, grammar is considered as a means towards communication and not as an end itself. So the role of grammar in the communicative language teaching. The first role of grammar in the communicative language teaching is conscious writing. conscious writing. What do you mean? The teacher makes the learner relate the new grammatical concept to other grammatical information that they already have, both from other grammatical concepts in the target language or even from grammatical information which appears in their first language. And then we also have the deep end approach. Grammar is acquired unconsciously during the performance on those communicative situations, so it would be useless to teach grammar previously and explicitly. The direction in deep end approaches was not to teach grammar, as learner would be unable to integrate it within the communicative process. Natural approaches equate second language learning with first language learning. According to this view, second language learning should be acquired in the same way little children acquire the mother tongue, without any kind of grammar analysis or reflection. Within this view, grammar was seen to have a negative influence on communication and unconscious acquisitions. So there are 7 types of grammar practice from accuracy to fluency. The first one is awareness. After the learner have been introduced to the structure, they are given opportunity to encounter it with some kind of discourse and do a task that focuses on their attention on its form and or meaning. We also have control deals, whereby learners produce examples of the structure. These examples are, however, predetermined by the teacher or textbooks and have to conform to a very clear and close-ended cues. And you have the meaningful drills. Again, the responses are very controlled, but learners can make a limited choice of vocabulary. And then we have the guided meaningful practice, whereby learners form their sentences of their own according to a set pattern, but exactly what vocabulary they use is up to them. And then we have the structure base, which is a free sentence compositions. Learners are provided with a visual or situation clue and are invited to compose their own response, and they are directed to use the structure. And then we have the structure base again, the discourse composition, whereby learners hold a discussion or write a passage according to a task given, and they are directed to use at least some examples of the structure within the discourse. And then lastly, we have the free discourse, as in type 6, but then the learners are given no specific direction to use the structure. However, the task situation is such that instances of it are likely to appear. And then let's look at the inductive teaching method. The inductive teaching method starts with the assumption that we know something about a topic, but we want to find out more so that we will be able to formulate a rule about what we have learned. For instance, you start with talking about how the verb in the sentence can tell you the time of the action. When referred to the time, it is called the tense of the action. And then we have types of inductive teaching and learning. We have the inquiry-based learning, whereby the learners are presented with a challenge which will require knowledge that has not been completely covered. And then the challenge may come in a question that needs a solution, an observation that needs to be explained, or a data that says that must be analyzed, or a hyperforce that must be tested. And then we have the discovery learning. Learners are given a problem which they have to find a solution for themselves. The teacher is just there as a facilitator and renders only limited assistance to solve the problem. The learners are to find solution by trial and error until they are satisfied that the answer fits the problem. This process is referred to as the guided discovery. And then we have the problem-based learning. As the name suggests, the learners are presented with a real-world problem that needs to be solved. Problem-based learning generally incorporates collaborative learning by placing the student into groups. Collectively, they formulate and evaluate their various solutions, and then they select the best choices and present the argument for that solution. In a problem-based learning, learners do not receive background instruction, and emphasis is not on a correct answer, but on the investigative process. And then we have the project-based learning, whereby the learners are presented with an assignment that requires them to design or produce an expected outcome. The final product may be a formal written or oral presentation of their processes and outcome. Project-based learning can be assigned to individuals or groups. And then unlike problem-based learning, this style of inductive learning provides the learner with the necessary background knowledge and is focused more on the solution. And then we also have the case-based learning, whereby the learners are presented with the real-life scenarios or cases, which they hypothetically assume various roles. And then the cases tend to be very well structured, filled with elaborate details to incorporate many of the variables real-life problem contains. So learners in this type of learning learn to apply material that has already been covered in class and is somewhat familiar. Case-based learning can be assigned to individual learners or groups, and research informs that such case-based learning offers the learners the opportunity to learn and practice higher order thinking and problem solving and critical thinking skills. Just in time, and then we also have the just-in-time teaching. With this method, learners are presented with conceptual questions at the beginning of a class. These questions are usually done in an electronic or web-based mode so that they can be assessed immediately. The teacher then uses the result of the assessment to adjust the learner and address misconceptions the students might have about the subject or content. This method is classified as inductive because the students are being asked questions about material they have not yet studied. This method is used in primary in higher education. So how do we use games and problem-solving activities to teach grammar? Games and problem-solving activities, which are task-based and have a purpose beyond the production of correct speech, are the example of the most preferable communicative activities. Such activities highlight not only the competence but also the performance of the learner. Both games and problem-solving activities have a goal. Games are organized according to rules and they are enjoyable. Most games requires quarrel response or group works, whereas problem-solving activities, though they are structured, require individual response and creative solutions. Through well-planned games, learners can practice and internalize vocabulary, grammar, and structure extensively. They can play comparison and be comparative. They can take part in competition that are provided by games, which will enhance the motivation of the students, and also it reduces stress in the classroom. In summary, games and problem-solving activities provide favorable usage for extended communicative practice of grammar. They are both motivating and challenging. They encourage students to interact and communicate. Okay, moving on, we are going to look at the part of speech. We are going to look at the different part of speech. What are part of speech? Part of speech, these are categories that we use to group the words that we use in our everyday communication. So words can be categorized as either nouns, pronouns, articles, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. So you must be able to understand the function of each of these part of speech. So the function of a noun is in a sentence. It is to name a person, to name a place, to name an object, and also to name an idea. So nouns, we use them to name people, places, object, and ideas. While as the function of a pronoun, it is to replace a noun in a sentence so that we can avoid redundancy. And then we have articles. The function of an article in a sentence is to signal that a noun or pronoun will follow. Whenever you use an article, the word that will follow next, it's going to be a noun or a pronoun. In the English language, you only have three articles. We have the article the article and the article the. Now, when do we use a and n? We use a in front of a noun that starts with a consonant sound, such as a chair, a car, a table, a house, and so on. And then we use n in front of a noun that starts with a vowel sound, such as an apple, an elephant, an orange, and so on. And then we have verbs. The function of a verb in a sentence it is to express an action or state of being. To express an action or state of being. An action such as walk, talk, cook, teach, and drive. And when it comes to state of being, we are talking about the verb to be. These are verbs such as is, was, are, were, and am. And then we have adjectives. The function of an adjective, it is to modify or describe a noun, such as a red car, a blue chair, or a beautiful lady, a handsome man. And then we have adverbs. The function of an adverb in a sentence, it is to modify a verb. It tells us the manner in which an action was taken. Most adverbs end with ly, such as quickly, slowly, instantly, consequently, and so on. And then we have prepositions, and we say the function of a preposition, it is to show the relationship between a noun or a pronoun with another noun or pronoun in a sentence. And then we have a conjunction. And then the function of a conjunction, it is to join clauses or phrases in a sentence. So we say nouns are words that refer to people, places, things, and ideas. Nouns are the subject of a sentence. Example of nouns, we have John, cat, window, door, rules, and so on. So we have an activity here where we say identify the nouns in the following sentences. The first sentence is Kylie is a pro golfer. In this sentence, our noun is Kylie. Kylie is our noun. The second sentence is love is a beautiful thing. Our noun in this sentence is love. And then we have the bakery has fresh baked goods. In this sentence, we have two nouns. The first noun is bakery, and then the second noun is goods. So we have different categories of noun. We have a common noun, which is a noun that does not name a specific person, place, or thing. For instance, we celebrate my birthday with a great big chocolate cake. In this sentence, our common noun is birthday and cake. I ran the 5-kilometer race in town last week. In this sentence, our common noun is race, town, and last week. And then we have a proper noun, which is a noun that names a specific person, place, or object. For instance, shopping at the Grove Mall can be hectic during the holidays. In this sentence, our proper noun is Grove Mall. And then we have, I went to Horizon Cinema to watch the movie Speed Racer. In this sentence, our proper noun is Horizon Cinemas and Speed Racer. There's one thing I want to emphasize when it comes to proper nouns. Whenever you are writing proper nouns, they always begin with a capital letter. No matter where you find them in a sentence, they are always written with a capital letter. And then we have abstract nouns, which are nouns that refer to ideas, concepts, and emotions and other things. And then we also said you cannot physically interact with them. You cannot see them, you cannot taste them, you cannot touch them, you cannot smell them, you cannot hear them. So abstract nouns refer to ideas and qualities that we cannot see or touch. Most abstract nouns are formed with adjective. For example, the abstract noun safety is formed from the adjective safe. So we have some examples of abstract nouns here. We have abstract nouns of qualities such as honesty, bravery, darkness, kindness, goodness, etc. We have abstract nouns of states such as slavery, sleep, childhood, etc. We have abstract nouns of action such as judgment, hatred, laughter, movement, and flight. And then we have collective noun. So we say a collective noun is a word that refers to a group. It can be either singular or plural, but it is usually used in the singular. For example, a herd, which is a group of herbivore animals. A pack, which is a group of canine animals such as wolves or dogs. It is also used to describe playing cards and the packages containing multiple objects. So we have, for instance, a flock, which is a group of birds, but it can also be referred to a small hoofed animals such as sheep or goats. We have a swarm, which is a group of insects, such as a swarm of bees, a shoal of fish, and then a group used to describe a group of people. Then we also have a crowd, which is used to describe a group of people. So we have 3 sentences here, and then we say some collective nouns are used in these sentences. Let's try to identify them. The first sentence is, our nation is great. Our nation is great. In this sentence, we use the collective noun, nation. And then we also have the Indian Army is famous for bravery. And in this sentence, we use army as a collective noun. And then our cricket team consists of famous players. In this sentence, we have used the collective noun, team. And then we have singular and plural nouns. Singular nouns refer to one thing, example, a baby, a puppy, a car, a chair, a car, and so on and so on. But a plural noun refers to 2 or more things. For instance, babies, puppies, flowers, chairs, and cars. So how do you change singular nouns to plural nouns? You add the letter S to the singular noun. For instance, job become jobs, boy, boys, essay, essays, chair, chairs. But when the singular noun ends with the letter S, or she, or chi, or x, or z, or es, or z, you add es at the end. For instance, church become church, wish, wishes, box, boxes. And when the singular noun ends with letter O, you add s. For instance, piano become pianos, zoo, zoos. But for some singular nouns ending with O, you add es. For instance, cargo become cargos, echo become echoes. And for singular nouns that end with y, you replace the y with ies. For instance, berry become berries, babies become babies. Then you also change the f or the fe into ves. Wife become wives, knife become knives. Some nouns are the same for both singular and plural. Example, trout, sheep, water, milk, and data. These nouns, they do not change. In their singular and plural form, they remain the same. Their spelling remain the same. Then we say some nouns form their plural in some ways. Example, woman become woman, tooth become teeth, food become feet. And then we have countable and uncountable nouns. Countable nouns are individual people, animal, places, object, or idea which can be counted. Anything that can be counted, whether singular, a dog, a house, or whether it's plural, a few books, a lot of oranges, it is a countable noun. Uncountable nouns are not individual objects, so they cannot be counted. Anything that cannot be counted, it is considered as an uncountable noun. So we have some example here of countable and uncountable nouns. Let's look at the countable nouns first. There are at least 20 Italian restaurants in Little Italy. In this sentence, we have countable nouns. What are these countable nouns? We have restaurants, and we also have Little Italy. And then we have Megan took a lot of photographs when she went to the Grand Canyon. We have a countable noun here, which is photographs. And then your book is on the kitchen table. We have 2 countable nouns here, which are book and table. How many candles are on that birthday cake? We have 2 countable nouns here again. We have candles and birthday cake. And then you have several paintings to study in art appreciation class. And then in this sentence again, we have 2 countable nouns, paintings and class. And then uncountable nouns, you have examples such as there is no more water in the pond. There is no more water in the pond. We found one uncountable noun here, which is water. You cannot count water. You cannot count water. And then you also have, please help yourself to some cheese. Again, you cannot count cheese. I need to find information about Pulitzer Prize winners. In this sense, again, we have one uncountable noun, which is information, which you cannot count. And then we have, you seem to have a high level of intelligence. which is also an uncountable noun, and we cannot count intelligence. And then we have compound nouns. Compound nouns are words for people, animal, places, things, or ideas that make up two or more words. Most compound nouns are made with nouns that have been modified by adjectives or other nouns. Example: swimming pool, basketball, haircut, software, checkpoint, saucepan, box set, coffee table. All of these, they are compound nouns. Each of these compound nouns, they contain two words. For instance, swimming pool contains two words, swimming and pool. Basketball contains two words, basket and a ball. Haircut contains two words again, hair and cut. Software again contains two words, soft and a wear. And the saucepan again also contains two words, sauce and a pan, box and a set, coffee and a table. Hence we call them compound nouns. And then we have gerund nouns or phrase. Gerunds are words that are formed with verbs, but in the actor's action as nouns. They are nouns formed with the verb ending with ing. They are very easy to detect since every gerund is a verb with an ing. For example, walking, jogging, running, swimming, playing, singing, dancing, eating, drinking. So all of these words, they are what we call gerund nouns. And then we have concrete nouns. Concrete nouns are words used for actual things you can touch, see, taste, feel, and hear. These are things you interact with every day. Concrete nouns can also be countable, uncountable, common, proper, and collective nouns. For example, chair, you can touch a chair. A table, you can touch a table and you can also see it. Bed, a ball, water, money, and sugar. These are things that you can touch, hear, see, smell, and taste. And then we have pronouns. A pronoun is a word used in the place of one or more nouns. And we have a personal pronoun which is the place of nouns or pronoun that name people or things. For instance, he, they, it, me, or her. Then we have possessive pronouns that shows ownership, such as mine, yours, and our. We also have demonstrative pronouns which refer to particular people or things. For instance, this, that, those, and those. When used with nouns, they are called demonstrative adjectives. And then we have relative pronouns, which refer to a noun or pronoun that goes before it. For instance, who, whom, who, that, which, and whose. And we also have reflexive pronouns that refer back to someone or something else in the sentence, such as himself, herself, themselves, ourselves, and so on. And then we have interrogative pronouns. These ones are used to ask questions. And then we also have what we call adjectives. Adjectives are words that are used to modify or describe a person, a thing, or in other words, to describe a noun or a pronoun. So we have an interrogative adjective. These are words that serve to modify another term, specifically a noun. The words which and what are the two interrogative adjectives and are used in interrogative sentences to modify nouns found in the question. Interrogative adjectives also modify noun phrases. And then we have descriptive adjective. The term descriptive adjective can be simply defined as a type of adjective that are used to express the size, color, or shape of a person, an object, an animal, or a place. They are used to provide more information to a noun by describing or modifying it. And then we have a compound adjective. A compound adjective is formed when two or more adjectives are joined together to modify the same noun. This term should be hyphenated to avoid confusion or ambiguity. For example, Diana submitted a 6-page document. In that sentence, we have one compound adjective which is 6-page, and they are hyphenated. Okay, let's move on to active and passive voice. Active voice means that the sentence has a subject that acts upon its verb. When the subject of a sentence performs the verb's action, we say that the sentence is in the active voice. Sentences in the active voice have a strong, direct, and clear tone. And then here's some example here, such as monkeys adore bananas. The cashier counted the money. The dog chased the squirrel. In this sentence, we have a subject that acts upon its verb. And then we have the passive voice. The passive voice means that the subject is the recipient of the verb's action. A sentence is in the passive voice, on the other hand, when the subject is acted on by the verb. The passive voice is always constructed with a conjunctive form of to be plus the verb past participle. Doing this usually generates a preposition as well. For instance, bananas are adored by monkeys. The money was counted by the cashier. The squirrel was chased by the dog. These are some examples of passive voice. Okay, moving on. How do we teach adverbs using novels? The first thing you need to do is to choose 10 sentences from the story or make up your own sentences about the story. In these sentences, you must use verbs like walk, run, cry, sing, swim, come, talk, and so on. But do not add any adverbs. So you form sentences using verbs, but in those sentences, do not use any adverbs. So write the 10 sentences on sentence stripes. Then you divide the class into 10 groups. Each group must receive one sentence stripe, and each group has to write down 10 words describing the verb. So you ask each group to write down 10 words describing the verb that was used in the sentence that is written on the sentence strip. Then each member of the group must get the opportunity to read out their sentence with one of their adverbs included. You can do this as a class competition where each learner who gives a correct answer receives a point for the team, and each learner who uses two adverbs in the same sentence receives 2 points. And then moving on to assessment. Assessment in language. We have what we call formative assessment. In formative assessment, observation made, information collected are used both to guide learners and to help shape and direct the teaching and learning process. Assessment has a formative role if the learner is a formative role for learner if and when it motivates them to extend their knowledge and skill in established sound values. Or again, it also promotes self-study study method. Assessment takes tasks help learners to solve problems intelligently by using what they have learned, and teachers use the information to improve teaching and learning materials. When it comes to continuous assessment should be planned and scheduled at the beginning of the year and should be kept as simple as possible. Marks given for class activity, homework, or short tests on the completion of a topic can be recorded for continuous assessment. The grades obtained by the learners through the continuous assessment must be recorded systematically throughout the year and used to inform learners and parents about the progress and achievement, and to initiate compensatory teaching when needed. So, continuous assessment take out throughout the whole year. This is whereby you grade your students' activities throughout the whole year. And then we have summative assessment. Summative assessment takes place at the end of the school year, whereby the progress and achievement of the learner throughout the year is summed up. On the basis of this, decisions have to be made whether or not the learner moves on to the next grade or not. So with summative assessment, this is like the final assessment, whereby you assess the learner's progress and achievement throughout the whole year. And then after this, you come up with the decision of whether the learner moves on to the next grade or the learner repeat the same grade again the following year. So we have some principles that guide that characterize good assessment practice. So the first characteristic is that the primary purpose of the assessment is to improve learners. Assessment should be based on an understanding of how learners learn. Assessment should be an integral component of course design and not something to add afterwards. Good assessment requires clarity of purpose, goals, standard, and criteria. Good assessment requires a variety of measures. In general, a single assessment instrument will not tell us all we need to know about learner achievement and how it can be improved. Assessment methods should be valid, reliable, and consistent. Assessment requires attention to outcomes and processes. And again, we say assessment works best when it is ongoing, continuous, rather than when it's episodic, summative at the end of the year. So with that, guys, we come to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for listening attentively. If you have any query or any question, or you need any clarification or anything, do not hesitate to contact me on my details that are appearing on the screen. My cell phone number is there. My email address is there. You can give me a phone call, or you can send me an email, and then I'll give you a phone call. With that, guys, I wish you all the best with your assignment and also with your examination. Goodbye.